Welcome and Happy New Year. This is episode 35 of the Die, Laugh, Love podcast. For those who have not participated in any of these episodes prior to today, I named this the Die, Laugh, Love podcast because no matter where you're from, what your background is, how you were raised, every single one of us is going to die. That is just a common denominator for each of us. While we are here, though, alive as humans, it's really important for us to do what we can to laugh and love while we're here. Now, I want to share with you my good luck charm. Some of you know what my good luck charm is when I do group readings, but I want to set the stage. I'm going to take it off here for a moment. During every group reading that I do in person or virtually, I always wear my Golden Girl socks. This is my good luck charm. Now, my Golden Girl socks, well, that leads me to this awesome gift that I got in the mail this year from Amber and Cindy. If you're on here, thank you for my Golden Girls dish towel. And I also got Golden Girls mints this year. And why do I love the Golden Girls? They're performers, yes. They brought a lot of joy to us, each of those wonderful women. And a 22-minute episode of the Golden Girls is a great dose of what I call vitamin joy. So I use that term all the time, vitamin joy. We got to get our joy in like a vitamin, because if we don't, we'll grow up to be jaded and bitter and judgy and bitchy. That's not a way to spend our life. So we got to get our joy in, no matter what that looks like. And that's going to look different for everybody. As I was getting ready for this episode, the first of the year, I receiving information, sort of getting guidelines, and this is the direction that Spirit would like me to go in. Now, here is essentially how this episode will work. It is an online spirit gallery. I will soon begin to start to channel spirit for participants here. This is a interactive event, which means if this sounds like it's somebody that is in spirit for you, please unmute yourself. Please wave your hand. Please talk to me, because I'll tell you, I've done this long enough and I'm kind of getting sick of people coming to me after my events going, that was my mom, but I didn't say anything. Or that was my brother and I didn't say anything. So spirit is here, and this is an opportunity for you to find a connection. I know that we can get way too concerned about what people think about us saying things or talking in funny ways or what have you, but generally speaking, an environment like this is a safe space for you to share in an experience like this. So please feel confident to run your mouth for me. Okay, that's what I'm going to ask you to give me for the new year. Run your mouth at me. Okay, so let's talk about where we're at. January 1st, 2026. We all have 2025 behind us. We have 365 days of a new year in front of us. There's a lot of opportunity. And I like to think of each of us as the main character in our own story. There's something that some of you might be familiar with called the hero's journey. It was coined by folklorist Joseph Campbell. And essentially, he talked about the theme in world mythologies about heroes setting out on a journey, coming across friends and mentors, eventually coming up against an antagonist of some sort, whether it's a villain or a disease or a circumstance. And then the hero somehow gets around, over, or through it. And I want to talk to you about this because as a medium, not only do I speak to the dead are dearly beloved in spirit, are not the only spirits that are available to us. And I say this from a place of not being a Christian. I'm non-denominational, but I do have an incredible amount of angelic energy helping me. And I'm not the only one. I see this in a lot of people. I see this in teachers and nurses and social workers. There are a lot of people in this world who have angels with them, celestial beings, divine beings that were never human, but love us in our humanity. Now, one of the reasons that God or spirit or source or universe and these angelic entities love us so much is because we're stories. Each one of us. is a story. You might not like your story, but you're still a story. And as the main character in your story, you have a certain amount of freedom to write that story. There will be things that happen to you that you cannot control. This is one of the reasons why we have to get our vitamin joy in. But ultimately, we are in charge of our lives. All right. What that means is that to a great degree, you can't control what happens to you, but you can write the best story by how you react to what happens to you. Now, some of you might be familiar with my journey over 2025. My son decided to go to Alaska. I brought him to Alaska. He was there a couple months. He decided he needed to come home, go to Alaska, bring him back home. And shortly after he came home, he started a relationship with a young woman who was the mother of two children. Shortly after he started this relationship, this young woman and her 1 and 3-year-old were kicked out of their house and had nowhere to go. So our household of three men, my husband and myself and our 22-year-old son, turned into a household of six. A young mother, a 1-year-old, and a 3-year-old. If you're wondering where this little congestive cold comes from, well, you can imagine the little petri dishes that we have running around in our house. That's where it comes from. There is a point to all of this, and I want to share this with you. Over the course of doing this work, I have found that humans, when we strip ourselves right down to it, we are either motivated by love or fear. That's it. People are either motivated by love or fear. And we can vacillate and move between the two at different points. But what Spirit has shown me is that, yes, I am the main character in my story. I will cross paths with other people in their stories who are mentors to me, main characters in their own story. And what the angelic has shared with me is that the most beautiful part of existence itself, the universe, our reality, humanity, the most beautiful part of this big mess we call life is the perseverance of the human spirit in the face of adversity. This is what's been shown to me as being the litmus of beauty, the perseverance of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Okay. Now imagine divine energy, divine love, seeing that as the ultimate in beauty. Not physical skin, not the flesh that you're inhabiting right now while you're alive, not the amount of makeup or the hair that you do, but the way we persevere in the face of adversity. And that's what we all have in common. Each one of us is going to face adversity, no matter what. As the hero in your story, I want to share with you what your greatest superpower is. Remember how I said, like, you can't do anything about really what's happening to you, but you can control how you react to it? All right. Love, no matter what you think about it, no matter how people have treated your love or received your love, the love that you are made of is your greatest superpower. You might not realize this because people might have taught you that your love is what makes you vulnerable or weak or stupid, but that is a falsity. That's a falsehood. When we have to carry a burden for somebody we love, we will find the strongest version of ourselves. Whenever I get tired and worn out doing whatever I'm doing, as soon as I think of the people that I'm doing it for, I will find resurgence of my spirit. When we have to solve a problem for somebody we love, we will find the smartest version of ourselves. So, if you, as the hero in your story, no matter how much life you have left, whether it's a year, whether it's 40 years, you are the hero in your story. You, as a hero, need help. You're going to need a sword. You're going to need power. You're going to need strength. That love is your greatest superpower. You will find, through the faculty of love, the greatest strength, the greatest wisdom. Has anybody ever felt or brushed up against mama bear energy? I want to talk about the strongest force in the universe. Okay. I bring up my living situation for this reason, because we are past Christmas, which is a lot of gifts. Now, we have a small house, not a very big house, big enough for all of us. And the house that we're in is like a tsunami has hit it. Dishes everywhere, toys everywhere, clothes and blankets everywhere. Now, it was a very fast process for me, my family, to go from 3 to 6 people. I don't mind sharing this, but I want to share with you what my process has been through it. So, when it came to homeless mother, 2 young children, needing a place to live, none of us questioned it. It was immediate. Okay. But sometimes the house gets goddamn messy. And sometimes that bothers me. Okay. And the other day, I'm going through my house going, there's toys here, there's everything here. Oh my gosh. And I think that we can all get a little bit of, we can all experience a little bit of anxiety when our house is cluttered and hectic. We can. But here's what was happening to me in that moment. As I was going through this house, and as these 2 children are running around, and everybody's just living together as best as possible, I used the wisdom that Spirit gave me, because in that moment, I understood that I wasn't necessarily responding from a place of love. I didn't respond at all. Nobody knew what was going on in the outside of me. Like nobody, like I wasn't demonstrating this annoyance. I wasn't expressing it physically or vocally. This was an inner process. And I was aware of it, and I sat with it, and I was like, this is not exactly a loving reaction. So what is it? If it's not love, then it has to be fear. And I had a moment where I was able to dissect this, because I want to be the strongest and wisest version of myself. I understand that I have to tap into my faculties of love to accomplish that. I could have, in that moment, become the big grumpy bear going, guys, come on, clean up the house. I could become that kind of stressed out parent, grandparent going, pick up the house. But I didn't. Because I didn't react necessarily. I responded. And there's a big difference between reacting and responding. Now, you guys are going to have a year. I don't know what that year is going to look like. You could have external circumstances to you fall across your lap. You could have internal processes pop up, trauma, pain, turmoil, all of that pop up. But no matter if you're antagonist or the villain in your story, and I use air quotes around the word villain, it doesn't matter if it's inside of you through the form of heartbreak, grief, turmoil, or outside of you in somebody that's awful to work with or what have you. Responding from love doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong. And I would hope that you could tap into that the next time you feel angry, the next time you feel annoyed. And I do want to say something about this. In the new agey world, in the spiritual world, there is something called toxic positivity. I do not want to offer you guys here toxic positivity. I don't want to offer you here what's called spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing is leaning into spiritual thoughts or philosophies in a way that avoids a person's personal, emotional, spiritual, mental development. Toxic positivity is saying, oh, we can't be angry. We got to always have a positive attitude. I'm not saying that here. What I'm saying is that your anger reaction is going to be inevitable. But I believe you want to be a responsible, strong human being in the way that you don't allow your emotions to dictate your life, because they can. So when you have a reaction, an emotional response, if you will, that doesn't feel like it's from a place of love, I want you to see what you can do as the hero in your story to transform that reaction into a love response. Find the greatest strength and the greatest wisdom that you have access to. And that's how we're going to make the greatest here. That's how we're going to persevere in the face of adversity. It's a life hack, a spirit hack, whatever you want to call it. And it's worked out very well for me. So this is, again, coming from people who were once alive, angelic entities who love us and want to be entertained by us and love our stories and love our development and all of that. But I want to move into the spirit channeling here. And I want to bring forth the people in spirit that will help us with this. So here's where your listening comprehension comes in. All right. And I need you to listen to the words that I'm saying, because what I'm doing here as a medium is I'm translating impressions, sensations, and feelings, and I'm trying to put them into words. So let's have a let's all lean into a little poetic license here as I'm expressing this. Now, this morning, as I'm going about my day and getting ready for my day and doing all my things and thinking about this podcast in the afternoon, I had a gentleman with me. And I love what he's bringing to me because he is absolutely a trickster. He's a joker. He was in life, and he remains to this day in spirit a very playful person. Now, I want to show you what he's sharing with me, because this is going to speak of a memory in your childhood. This feels like a grandfather, but bear with me, because as a grandfather can come through and feel like a grandfather to me, it could be your father, the grandfather of your children. So, what this man is showing me is this is really silly, like joking around with jingle bells. Now, hear me out on this. What he's showing me is like he would take jingle bells, like you guys know what those are, bells, and he would have shook them at a person almost like he was joking. And what it feels like to me is like this person could have played Santa Claus. This person could have come into the house with jingle bells on or what have you, and the kids that he was in front of could have been afraid of him, because there is a little bit of that playful energy of like, I'm going to mess with you with the jingle bells. Now, what else I get from this man is that education was very important to him. What I also get is that you are somebody, and he wants to cheerlead for you. He wants to come through and talk to you because you are an example of what I'm talking about here in terms of perseverance. I believe you're in school. I believe you're going through some sort of training. I believe you're making a decision in your life, and you don't care what people have to say. You might care a little bit, but he's talking to me about like college classes, courses, and whether it was that particularly in terms of education that was important to him, he's talking to me about knowledge, wisdom being important, because that is, you get through the world easier the smarter you are. Wisdom is important. Now, um, this is somebody who would have felt, and you're here, you would have felt when you made the decisions to better yourself, go back to school, there would have been people in your life that would have said, what do you think you're doing? Is that the right decision? You would have had like naysayers. And there's something about you believing in yourself, believing in your development, that you want to create this life for you. And this grandfather energy, this funny man with the jingle bells, he is trying to encourage you to stay the course. So now I open it up to folks here. Anybody have a grandfather, anybody who would have played around with jingle bells, joked around, like, ha ha ha, almost kind of made it chased you around the house or something, thought that they were funny? Anybody here in college courses or training? Anybody that here had anybody that would have naysayed that process?
Possibly me.
Hi,
Hi.
Peter.
Hey.
Okay,
Um,
share.
not
Fill
not
in the
not
blanks for
well.
us.
My father, like me, sort of had the stature of Santa Claus, and we're both very funny people. I don't get the jingle bells, but a while ago, I felt like I had to go to graduate school, and there were a lot of people, my family included, that were like, "How you how you gonna manage that?" Um, and it was not as discouraging as it was determinative. So I just decided I'm going to apply to these programs, and I got into a master's program, and I got the school to pay for it. So, but that was a while ago. But definitely the stature of Santa Claus and the kidding around. I don't get the jingle bells, but also
Okay,
education. Oh my God, education! Everybody. I mean, so important to everyone around him.
it's interesting because I believe this is for you. Now, hang out with me here, okay? There, you said something about the school paying for it. You
Yep.
got the school to pay for it, like your programs, your classes.
Yeah, they paid for 90% of my master's degree.
90%. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Like you were able to get somebody to pay for this. So, um, statue of Santa Claus, he must have had a sense of humor.
Oh God, yes.
But just because I'm jingling the jingle bells and
Yeah.
it's I'm laughing about it. Like it's funny to
Mm,
me, like I'm messing with somebody.
mm.
Okay, statue of Santa Claus. Now, you said it wasn't so much uh detrimental as it was determinative.
Well, it fueled my determination. Instead of saying, "Yeah, you're
Yes.
right. How could I possibly do that?" I said, uh, um, I said, so I heard this dismay from my family. Then I went off and got accepted into a program and eventually graduated. Same school as my father, same job as my father.
All right. I just want to make sure that there's nobody else who can relate to this story right here.
No.
This is important because you're an example. Now, what you're an example of, Peter, is this: everybody is going to have an antagonist, everybody's going to have a villain, whether it's cultural programming that we pick up as a story or people in our life telling us that we can't do it. When can we take the antagonist and turn it into a catalyst? Somebody tells me I can't do something, I'm going to show you I can do it twice as hard. So when you have people telling you that you can't be a thing or do something, don't believe them. And that is exactly right there, Peter, where you could have believed somebody else's stories, what they were telling you. How could you make that happen? How can you believe in that? How could you do that? And you don't allow other people's stories to determine your own. You are the author of your own story. As I'm doing this session today, um, as I'm doing this session today, like I have to touch base with a lot of the basics that I believe in and that I work from, and the foundation of like what my messages are. And that idea of being an alchemist, somebody taking the crap that's handed to us and turning it into gold, that's how we create the best story. Now, Peter, I want to ask you, um, outside of the what I'm hearing from this man, outside of any sort of religious or spiritual proclivities, can I ask you why do this is interesting because I feel like I'm touching beads or bracelets, and I get this message of thank you for keeping the traditions alive. No, I don't believe you're a Catholic. I feel like I'm almost doing the rosary. Where
Yeah.
like I'm touching beads. I don't know if you have a bracelet on that has beads. I don't know if you have beads of your father that's not necessarily a rosary, but connected to some sort of tradition. Do you know what that is?
All I can think of is it's not jewelry, but my father was a minister. I'm a minister. I inherited his minister stuff. So a communion kit, a cross, a Bible, and then this very tiny little black notebook that he used all the way for the whole time he was a minister with services like weddings and funerals and baptisms and prayers and stuff. And I have it and I sometimes carry it around with me. It's not jewelry though. I'm trying
Okay.
to, you know, I'm just trying to decide
It
if
almost
it's
feels like
for me.
wooden beads. I'm not sure what that is, but that's okay. It's just thank you for keeping the traditions alive. All right. Interesting. Can I ask you, as you talk to your beloved dead and your spirits, you talk to your mom more than you talk to him?
Well, my mother's alive, so I certainly talk to her
Oh, okay. So you are talking to your mom more than you talk to him.
daily.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because I get this feeling of like thank you for talking to mom, thank you for being there, thank you for keeping that conversation going. Okay.
I
um
have a I have a comment about that.
yeah.
My sister died, and so now, very suddenly in April, and now I am the only person. I'm the person that's in charge of my mother. My 90, going to be 98 on February's uh, care, housing, health, all that kind of stuff, which my sister was doing. So it was a great loss in April. So I guess I am continuing in that vein and taking care of my mother. But I don't.
So again, not in control of the messages they provide, just in control of bringing them. May I ask you, have you recently ate lemon meringue pie?
No.
Okay, hear me out on this.
Okay.
What is the meringue made of? I don't know what it is. Like the lemon. No, no,
It's
it's the lemon. It's like super sugary.
uh,
There's something about like the gelatin or the liquid sugar that you need to be mindful of, health wise, diabetes wise, sugar wise, heartburn wise, indigestion wise. And what it feels like is the yellow gelatinous goo that you'd get in a lemon meringue pie. Be mindful of that. And the message for you is that your body is sending you signals. So if you eat something and you experience heartburn, your body is saying, please don't eat this. Lemon bars, lemon cake, lemon anything.
I don't like lemon, so
You don't like lemon. Okay.
you know.
It's so funny. It's just that sugary, gelatinous like stuff, and excess amounts of sugar is not good for anybody. Okay. This is a weird message for you. As a reverend, uh, it feels like you should be giving me this message versus me giving you the message, but I want to give you this message. Um, I don't know if this is from the Bible. I don't, but this is what I'm hearing. There's an expression, again, it's a cliche of make sure that you're in the world, but not of the world. Like I'm in the world, I'm not necessarily of the world. And I'll illustrate to you what I mean by that. I don't believe the stories the world is telling me. All of them, all of the ones that we just come to assume as fact. It's interesting that I would have to say, make sure that you don't don't close Jesus out of your heart. And it also has to do with so weird animal from the Muppets. This is what I'm getting together. So Animal, the Muppets. I'm not sure if you watched the Muppets as a kid. I'm not sure if there is a wild nature to you that's somehow closeted and hidden. But there is something about the wild nature of humanity and the playful nature of the Muppets somehow aligning with the energy of Jesus being in our heart. Now, I do want to kind of have, how do I say this? I want to make sure that everybody knows where I'm coming from through my lens of experience. I have met Jesus. I have channeled Jesus. I had an event in Rutland, and the very last person that I talked to was getting messages from Jesus. Jesus was a human. Jesus was not an angel. The angels are just, they've never been human. They understand what it's like to be human, but they've never been human, where Jesus was a human. So in the way that I receive him, he's kind of sainted, or in new agey talk, like an ascended master. He's out there, just like Buddha's out there. Um, being of the world instead of being in the world means that you would be affected by the stories and the people and the scenarios and the situations. My example of this is I was born and raised to believe that being gay was the worst thing in the world. Just awful, abomination. I carried that with me until I rejected it and healed that wound. If I was of the world, I would still be carrying the story the world gave me. I would still be carrying what humans give me for authority, where I listen to my own divine authority. So I guess instead of saying, remember to keep Jesus in your heart, it's more of remember to tap into your own divine authority, the love, and always circumnavigate to that. No matter what your antagonists are, when you lose your sister, when you're taking care of your mother, when there are people that are supposed to love you that disappoint you or betray you or abandon you or neglect you, remember that that love is always there, but it's like us driving down the road. We have to focus on it. You focus on the ditch, you're going to drive into the ditch. You focus on the windshield, you're going to drive down the road. You should be very proud of who you are and what you've accomplished, Peter. You also should have grace for the amount of weight that's on your shoulders in particular. Um, Okay. This is weird. All right. So, Peter, your father, did he have any sort of, how do I say, um, bad habits? Was he a smoker? Was he a drinker? Did he have anything that you'd consider a bad habit?
Well, he did smoke, but then he didn't smoke. He drank all the time, and he was not a diet conscious person, hence the Santa Claus.
Okay. So here's the funny thing. And let's just roll with it. Um, your dad's drinking and smoking with Jesus. Okay. So if Jesus is an entity, a spirit, a human spirit that we can interact with when we move into that realm, of course, your dad being a minister of his word, they'd be there. But I'm getting the image like almost like those. Remember the bulldogs, the picture of the bulldogs playing poker, sitting around the table,
Yep.
that sort of famous picture. I'm seeing that. But this is like your dad and Jesus coming through going, man, like they're just smoking and drinking. So there goes
No.
there goes Animal with the Muppets, like the wild man, finding divinity in our own inherent wildness or rebelliousness, or perhaps, or actually steering away from what we would consider purity culture. That's the
Mhm.
important part. People who drink and smoke aren't necessarily bad people. Plenty of people who go to the bars that are angels. Plenty of people that go to churches that are demons. So remember that. I'm not encouraging you to go get a bottle of Jack and a pack of Marlboros. That's not what I'm doing here, Peter. What I'm saying is remember that the stories we're given as humans, whether we're in ministry or not, the idea that our purity is something that we have to attain or whatever, when just inherently every single one of us are divine. So I would have you remember that. And I'd have you get a little chuckle at the idea of your dad and Jesus sitting around drinking and smoking. Okay. I know I'm not in control of it.
All
So
right, got it.
um, I appreciate that. All right. That's your message for today. Now I'm getting somebody else here. Interestingly enough, Peter, I'm going to mute you and then I'm going to go on to this next one. I want to talk to somebody here who would have, this is so weird, put mayonnaise in her hair. Been shown by somebody else to put mayonnaise in her hair. Okay, this is a tradition. This is what I'm seeing. But I am actually going to talk to somebody here who has um, really, this is important. They have negative reactions, or they get rashes to jewelry, like crappy jewelry. Okay, like they get crappy reactions to jewelry. You're somebody who is either putting mayonnaise in your hair. I don't know what that's for. I mean, it's the oils or whatever it is to shampoo your hair with mayonnaise. um, this is feeling like really 80s 90s sort of culture. I want to talk to you. You are somebody here who has really nasty reactions to crappy jewelry. You like break out into rashes. There's something important that I have to share with you here. Were you ever shown by an older sister to put mayonnaise in your hair? Anybody here? Mayonnaise. This is what I'm getting. Mayonnaise in your hair, poor reactions to crappy jewelry when you wear them. And what I'm getting from her is that this would be in your whole entire family. Like your whole family would have negative or like rashes to crappy jewelry. Again, I think this might be your mom's sister. I think this is like your aunt, somebody off to the side, maybe mom's cousin or somebody. She damaged herself. She's showing me damaging herself by dyeing her hair, doing lots of like nasty things to her hair. Um, oh, and she's like, how she's coming through is this is strange. I don't know how to. She shows me like, and pardon me as I am trying to paint the picture here. He shows almost. I don't think she was, but some people could have thought this of her. She's showing me as like almost like a sex worker. Okay. So what I mean by that is somebody like she would have had big hair. She would have had like the heels. She would have like shown off the legs and maybe the fishnet stocking. She would have been like a hot ticket. But she's talking about like abandoning herself or neglecting her body. And there's something like either she put mayonnaise in her hair and she showed you how to do it, or you remember her doing it. Who is this?
I definitely have a lot of associations to this, but they're sort of not exactly right. So if there's someone else, then I will.
Yeah, speak to me, Don,
Oh,
before
okay.
somebody
Can
else
you hear
does.
me
Yeah,
okay? Okay.
I can. Yes.
Um, my grandmother owned a jewelry store, and in the family, a lot of us would break out to bad jewelry, and she definitely did. And it was also kind of like a thing, like that you wouldn't buy bad jewelry in our family because my grandmother had this jewelry store, and it would be like the family allergy that if you ever did that. My grandmother's mother either was a prostitute in Dublin or her sister was a prostitute in Dublin. So there's that piece of it. And the mayonnaise, right before this call, I just was putting all this conditioner on my hair because I dyed my head. And so I was standing in the shower doing that. But I was remembering how when I was young, people said to put mayonnaise in your hair because it was good for your hair. But those, I mean, it's not exactly right. It's just all my associations.
But it's pretty goddamn close, Don. It's
Okay.
pretty close. It's
Okay.
pretty close. I mean, like so for people to understand how this process works for me, they're showing me what like symbol is,
Yeah.
like uh, it's weird for me to say, but I can't recall ever seeing like a sex worker or a prostitute in real life. Like I only see it like movies, Hollywood version of it, the street workers, what have you.
Yeah.
Uh and oh my gosh, so this is hilarious. So there's a history of reactions from crappy jewelry. You're just thinking about mayonnaise in your hair. Okay. So, oh my gosh, how funny is this to go from like Jesus drinking and smoking to me channeling a prostitute? You know what I mean? This is pretty phenomenal. I was like, and okay. But here's why this message has to be brought. And Dawn, you were just talking about dyeing your hair. Okay. Before I share with you what I'm sharing, I have to remind everybody that I am a believer in the democracy of self. Okay. What that means is it's your body. You're going to do what you want with it. If you want to smoke cigarettes and pay any sort of repercussions from that, that is your divine inherent right as a human being to do that with your body. Okay. However, anytime like I do a public group reading in public or what have you, the angels that help me always guide me to the people who have really nasty reactions to crappy jewelry. And there's a reason why I'm being brought to those people, and you'll be fascinated, because anybody who has reactions to crappy jewelry, they could break out into rashes or anything like that, they should not dye their hair. You
Even the
would not
natural
believe.
food store dye.
Well,
I
let
remember
me
you
let me
saying
give you.
this once before. I just remember that. Yeah.
Okay. So I have to like anybody. Okay, this is huge from spirit. Huge, huge. Every live event I do, I will bring somebody out. Last December, I was in Newport, Vermont. 3 women in the audience, and a woman comes up to me at the end. She was herself a hairstylist, and she told me, "You're onto something because hairstylists die more often from bladder cancer than anybody else."
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've had this confirmation over and over and over again. You have crappy reactions to jewelry, don't dye your hair. Because what's happening when you dye your hair and you let that hair dye sit on your scalp, you're absorbing those chemicals into your
Yes.
bloodstream
Yeah.
over and over and over. But there are no scientific studies out there saying, hey, a woman dyes her hair for 60 years. That's what gave her ovarian cancer.
Right.
Nobody's looking at this stuff.
Yeah.
So I bring this up to folks because I have brought this up to folks and I've had women say to me, I don't care, I will die early. Because their vanity was so important to them. Now, as I'm saying that, I don't want to harp on this, but the women whose vanity is that important to them that they would shave years of their life off, have really bought into an unhealthy story. We are physical beings, so we do want to be physically attractive to other physical beings. That's the biological mammalian thing. But there's such a drastic difference between wanting to be more beautiful and wanting to be less ugly. So many people who walk into this world get programmed by the maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline culture. They'll spend their entire life diet fads, clothes, hair, makeup, hating their physical body. When they die, they look back on it and they love it. And this is something that I speak of from experience. I'm a plus-sized person. I have been taught all sorts of awful things about that over the course of my life. And I'm constantly not reacting from fear. I'm reacting from love. I'm constantly trying to move myself to deprogram and uncondition myself, deconstruct all the bullshit that I picked up along the way. If you want to dye your hair, that's great. If you have reactions to shitty jewelry, and it sounds like you've heard this before, Dawn, make sure that you're using natural hair dye, the
Can
organic
I
stuff.
tell you one thing?
Hairstylists. Yes, go for it.
Okay, so I think this is the second or third time in my life I've dyed my hair using a natural foods thing, and I'm 60 and almost 61. And the weird thing for me is the grandmother that we're kind of dealing with here. That's my mom's mother, and I'm down the street from where my mom is literally dying. And I came to the show today because I thought, oh, I wonder if my grandmother will come and help me. And I think it's just weird because what I hear you saying is over and over again. You keep saying the word dye because you're talking about hair dye. But for me, I just somehow it's very healing. I was hoping to have a healing experience with you today, and I am, but it's in the weirdest way because like I hardly ever dye my hair. It's like I think it's the second time, maybe the third in my entire life. It's natural foods dye. It'll probably come out tomorrow. But my mom is dying, and the person talking to me about hair dye is my grandmother, so who's long dead. So I don't know. I just find it like kind of like this cosmic wild thing that's happening, and I appreciate it.
Well, and I appreciate it too. So, yes, going through this sacred process of helping your mother transition to spirit, that's important. It's interesting that there is a sense of inevitability that comes with that. Like
Yeah,
they're going to be there, they're going to escort her there into the world of spirit. Whereas, how many years do you have left on? Like
I don't know.
how important is this message to
Yeah,
everybody out there who's unknowingly poisoning their body with hair dye? Now, I don't know if women who have no reactions to crappy jewelry should dye their hair. What I'm told is that pregnant women shouldn't dye their hair. So if like pregnant women shouldn't dye their hair, why should non-pregnant women dye their hair? This is a big thing. It's just I think based on, again, and with the theme of buying into stories, buying into stories. Like I mentioned to Peter, he's not Catholic, but there's a lot of Catholic guilt out there. There's a lot of Catholic guilt out in the world of, you're born broken, you're fallen, you're of sin, and you need to earn your way back to heaven or into God's good graces when ultimately we never fall out of it. So thank you for being here. Also, interestingly enough, you have to understand that there might be something to the mayonnaise thing, because what I'm being told is because in the same way that the mayonnaise thing was a message, you have to understand that it was a message for you. That when you were in the shower, whenever you were doing it, all of a sudden, boop, you just think of it out of nowhere. That's a spiritual message. That's spirit coming through going, hey, you might want to just throw some mayonnaise in your hair. So I invite anybody here that's interested in hair health to Google the myth about mayonnaise in hair, because it might actually be good for us. So,
thank you.
we live in the age of Google. All right. Okay. Thank you for this. Interestingly, hold on. Uh, wow. Before I move to the next one, a reminder, and again, because I have not read the Bible and I don't know these stories specifically, didn't Jesus dine with sex workers?
Yeah,
Didn't
like Mary
Jesus hang
Magdalene.
out
Yeah,
with sex workers? Okay. I don't know the specifics of this, but we all want to be careful of the stories we're buying into and the judgments we make about the people in the world around us. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. And blessings to you as you navigate mom's transition.
Thanks.
A good way to kind of walk through it, if you think of it like this, instead of the word transition, think graduation. That's how I like to look at death, as graduation. So you're helping mom graduate. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm seeing three bears, three stuffed bears. One has a baseball cap. This feels like Bernstein Bears almost. This feels like Bernstein Bears, but now I'm seeing like three bears on a dresser, almost like three bears. One, two, three. I don't know if this is the three Goldilocks. Hold on. Now I'm getting lilacs here. Does somebody have three bears? One like a little boy bear that's got like a baseball cap on him. I see that. They're telling me that this is all like part of the big story we're talking about here. Okay, hold on. Who here has stuffed animals? Who here has Bernstein bears? Who here has something like that sitting on a dresser? Who here as an adult has stuffed animals? Um, okay, hold on. This feels connected to some young man who would have died early. I'm feeling very like childlike energy, young boy energy connected to these bears. Start talking to me, please. Anybody have three bears, one with a baseball cap, stuffed animals connected to somebody who would have passed at a young age? Nobody has bears up on a dresser. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the bears up on a dresser. Um, I'm seeing, I'm feeling, anybody here lose a 12-year-old boy connected to like either baseball bears? Does anybody here have a 12-year-old's little bear in their home? Um, this is interesting because like now what I'm experiencing now is uh spirit helping spirit come forth to me. This is like I'm getting this 12-year-old, but I'm also getting like him being pulled or amplified in this experience. And I keep seeing like the baseball diamond, the baseball diamond, baseball stuff, baseball hat. uh, I have to wonder, he's showing me like he would have limped or walked funny, I think, while he was alive. Don't get stuck on 12. This is a young person who passed. But it feels like he's like alive and walking funny. Anybody here lose a young person who would have played baseball, but perhaps would have had physical disabilities? Connected to a little bear, teddy bear, something like that. Played for the Bears. I don't know. I'll keep bringing forth information. Um, he's talking about his mom being here, but I don't think you're his mom. His mom has a connection to bananas, banana pie. His mom may need potassium, like have cramps in her legs. Um, I'm just going to keep my eyes closed as I do this, okay? Because he wants to talk about um, he's talking about his summertime being his best and most favorite time. He's talking about egg salad. Loved egg salad. Loved like outside time, cookouts, barbecues, baseball games. There was something like either physically or developmentally wrong with this young person. And it's interesting now because I'm getting a sense of like optimism and like happiness. Like he's happy and optimistic. I'm not sure if this is Down syndrome. I'm not sure what this is, but this is a young man. He's talking about like teddy bears being up on a dresser or a shelf in a bedroom. There might still be a baseball cap of this child in this world, like like literally laying on a teddy bear. Um, But again, I'm not sure this is your loss. I think this is somebody that you're connected to. Help me out, guys. Like, I'll keep talking to this person. Does this sound familiar to anybody? Okay, so I see somebody waving their hand, iPhone. So I'm gonna ask you to unmute iPhone there. Hello.
Hi, I have um, baseball bears with caps on in a enclosed cabinet. Um, I did lose my son, but not at 12. It was fairly recently at 32. He loves summer. He loved to be in outdoors. Um, and he loved the bears that were in that cabinet.
Okay, so Mama, hear me out on this, okay? Hear me out on this. Can I get your name, please? Because I don't want to call you iPhone.
Thelma.
Selma?
Thelma. Yep. Thelma.
Thelma. Okay,
Yes.
Thelma. Okay. All right. So Thelma, um, watch what's happening here. Outside, bears with caps on, baseball, like all of this sun that's missing. Okay. May I ask, is there a 12-year-old in this world?
No.
So he doesn't have a nephew, he doesn't have a child, he doesn't have anybody that he'd be watching out over.
No. No. All his nephews are only around 9, 10, or 11.
Okay. Don't get too caught up on the number. Okay. Don't get too caught up on the number. If they're young men like that, young gentlemen, and they're playing baseball or what have you, well, here's what I'm hearing. Okay. Remember what your son's middle name was? Do you remember what your son's middle name was? You do. Okay.
I do.
Who else would have something like that? Does anybody named with your son's name as the middle name?
Um, Not that I can think of. His middle name was Ryan. Um, and like I said, he's got a nephew that's turning 11. Um,
Does the nephew like baseball, into sports, things like that?
oh yes, my nephew. He's
Okay.
very into sports.
Yes. Okay. So here's a couple of things. You've got to understand that your son in spirit is just like the rest of us when we move to spirit.
Hmm.
We're going to move through our healing process. We're going to learn, and then we're going to kind of get to work and we look out over people. So as I'm channeling this son that's passed, he's also looking over and with a nephew that he would have cared about that would have had similar thoughts, similar hobbies, similar proclivities. Um, do you remember him loving egg salad, your son?
No, that definitely he did not like. Um, he's an egg person. I mean, when it came to scrambled eggs or eggs over medium, he would eat those all the time. Um, but with egg salad mixed with mayonnaise, no, he didn't like mayonnaise, so that would never happen.
But you get what I'm seeing with the yellow eggs and appreciating eggs, and it's somehow connected to the summertime, the barbecues, the cookouts, summertime. Okay. Um, he smoked, Thelma.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm smelling cigarette smoke, and I get the message that you should pay attention to when you're smelling cigarette smoke, and you shouldn't be. Okay, that's a hello. Okay.
Oh,
Now the
yeah.
other thing that I get for you is thank you for continuing to do Christmas. I don't know what you did for Christmas, but there's a gratitude for not giving it up on it.
I did almost give up on her because I just recently lost him.
Yep, but you didn't give up on it.
No.
No. Okay. So, Dama, hold on one second. He keeps showing me the young child, and it's not that he's ignoring you, it's just that you are at a different place in your life than children are. So this is that idea of him becoming a spirit guide. Okay. What he's also showing was He's showing me like a jersey with the name on the back. Like he's showing me the jersey with the name on the back. Do you have a jersey of your son? Do you still have a jersey with his name on it?
Uh, no, I do not. But his nephew, who's turning 11, who loves sports, um, he could be the one. I know he has jerseys with numbers on them from different sports
Yeah,
played,
and like
soccer.
names on the back. The name.
Yes.
I'm not a sports ball person, so okay. Okay. So Thelma, when I do this work, there's a lot that goes unsaid because there's a lot that I unfortunately take for granted. When I get connected to spirit, it's always from a place of love. So when I have this opportunity to bring this son to you, and I'm talking to you about this, it's always because there's love there. And can I also ask, as I was channeling him, and you said you'd recently lost him, he's going to kind of be a newborn in the world of spirit. Um, and there was that idea that I'm like happy and I'm playing and I could feel that young youthful energy. I also am getting, and he doesn't like to talk about this. Um, he was while he was alive, he was two different people, wasn't he? Do you know if he was
Definitely.
bipolar?
He had, yeah, most definitely. Yep.
Okay, so the way I describe it is like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You know, there's like the real version, and then there's the imbalanced version of the person.
He used to
So,
say that all the time.
okay. Um, you're okay. So he's showing me bright red temper and he's apologizing for it. When he spoke out of anger to you, when he was unfair to you, when he sought to hurt you intentionally with his words in whatever way, the message of apology is more important than the message of love. The message of love is there, but he's got to apologize for like his demons, is what I'm hearing, like his redness, his fury, his anger. He's apologizing for that.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of truth to that.
Hey, Thelma, Mama, listen to me. You were not a bad mother. There's nothing about your life, who you were, that was a bad mother. And your son literally, not that it was a demon, but it was his version of demons. He was dealing with his own weight and his own mental illnesses and his own stuff. You weren't
Yes, he was.
responsible for it. You didn't cause it, but you were the victim of it. And that doesn't make you a bad mother.
No. We were very,
Okay.
very close, but we had our times when we would argue and he would say some pretty nasty things to me, but he'd always apologize immediately after.
But they still leave a mark. You know, they still leave a mark, those words. Whether we get an apology after or not, they still leave a mark. And Thelma, I want to talk to you about this because I've done this for thousands of people, but the worst thing a human being can ever go through is the loss of a child. The
Yep.
natural order of things is we should go before our kids. That's the natural order of things. That's how it should go, but that's not how it always goes. And when a parent loses their child, it is the worst thing a human can experience ever. Now, Mama, hear me. I started this by talking about the perseverance of the human spirit in the face of adversity. You are someone who has suffered from the worst thing a human being can experience. And you, whether you believe it or not, have persevered. You have persevered. I also
I
have
have,
strange
but it
advice
hasn't
for
been
you.
easy.
No, no. Again, the hardest thing a human can do. You've survived and are surviving the hardest thing a human being can go through. That right there should be acknowledgement and awareness enough of you. But here's the funny thing, this guy won't shut up about I don't know his name. God damn it. He's showing me one here. Watch. Three's Company first. I see Three's Company. Okay. And then he shows me the wacky neighbor. The wacky neighbor, which was like Don Knotts, I think. Do you remember him?
Wacky neighbor.
Somebody help me.
Yeah.
The
Chat it.
Ropers.
Unmute yourself. Talk to me. Don Knotts.
Oh,
Who was this?
who the
And picture him again.
he can picture him. My husband says he can picture him, but he can't think of his name.
Yeah, he was in like Barney Fife. He was, I think he was in the oh, God damn it, it's all escaping me. Andy
Don
Griffith's
Knotts.
show. I think
Don Knotts.
yeah, Don Knotts, I think. Yeah. So all right. He's he's talking about whatever it is around that man, whether you watched him in Three's Company, or in the Andy Griffith show. I don't know why he shows him to me specifically, but there's this idea that you need to get a little joy and a little humor in. Okay. Like even watching silly TV like that to give your mind off of it, to laugh a little bit, even that's a little bit of medicine.
Yeah, he used to love this one particular show, and oh my goodness, there was 3 or 4 characters in it, but this guy, he's even got his own show as a little kid right now. I can't think of his name either. He was
Big Bang Theory, Sheldon.
big. Yes. He loved that show. Loved it. And would watch that all the time.
You know, those two guys look similar to me in my head. You know, the guy who played Sheldon in The Big Bang Theory and the person who played the wacky neighbor on Three's Company. They look similar to me. Skinny, short hair, big eyes. That's really fascinating. Okay. All right. Okay. Here's a funny thing for you, Thelma. Why is he insisting on you getting a new pair of boots or footwear? He's not happy with what you're wearing for shoes.
Probably because I don't wear them half the time because I don't leave the house. I'm almost barefooted. I don't
No,
know.
you need new
I don't
shoes.
know.
You need new shoes. Or somebody in your house does. I don't know. You need new shoes. This is like when like the sole comes off the foot. The like when the sole, like the shoes are so old, the sole kind of falls off. Um. All right.
He had the soles fall off one of his shoes, and he had to go out and buy a new pair. He needed new shoes more than anybody.
Yeah, but he doesn't have feet now, so you do. Make sure that you're wearing the best shoes if you can. All right.
Yeah.
The other thing that's funny. Okay, you're obviously in this nephew's life the one who likes sports.
Yes, very much so. My
Okay.
daughter's son.
Daughter, son. Okay, here's your grandson. Okay. I don't know why I get this sense of excitement about Halloween. He's like, watch around Halloween. Watch around Halloween.
Well, he loves Halloween. That their whole family does.
Their whole family does. Okay.
You've talked to my daughter, Nicole.
I don't know who Nicole is. I know a lot of Nicoles, or
Nikki.
I guess that's appropriate, Thelma. I know a lot of Nicoles.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, here's all right. Neapolitan ice cream, strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla.
He would.
You're familiar with that, right?
Yes, as long as it was lactose intolerant.
Okay. Yeah. So those are 3 very different flavors. They go together.
Yes.
So what he's talking about, this is strange because he's talking about him and you and somebody else, maybe the daughter, being like those 3 different flavors, but they go together well. And what he's trying to talk about is because they're talking in simile, they're talking in metaphor. When you pass away, Thelma, you will be instantly reunited with your people, including him. It's inevitable that you're reunited with him in spirit. And yeah, it's like I'm gonna have like ice cream with you. We're going to be flavors. We're gonna fit together like 3 scoops of ice cream. Also, he's saying that the woman who hurt you will be there to offer you an apology. So you're gonna have an apology. Okay. Like there's women in the world of spirit waiting to apologize to you. Okay.
Okay.
That's important. But okay, why would he just show me the Roadrunner from Bugs Bunny? Like Wile E. Coyote, the Roadrunner. Beep beep, beep beep. He's laughing at that. Why is he laughing about the Roadrunner?
He used to mimic so many characters, and that was one of them. You put a character in front of him, and he could just mimic him, and he would sound exactly like them. That's how he always made us laugh, because he could mimic almost any character he wanted to mimic.
That's why I would hear the mimi and then laughter, like the mimicking, the character. Okay. What else here? Did you guys, when he was alive, when he was alive, did you guys ever go like to the cemeteries, have picnics in the cemetery? Do you ever go to the cemeteries?
Um, yeah, he went to cemeteries with me with past family members before he passed, um, to pay our
Yes.
respects, but never for a picnic.
Okay.
We would
Um,
get together, other places, but
so so the picnic thing, he still wants you to picnic, and this is important. And like what I'm seeing is like what people used to do a couple hundred years ago. People used to go have picnics in cemeteries, spend time with the dead and their ancestors. We don't do that nowadays, but this is making sure that hold on, making sure that you do this with him. Okay.
yeah,
And here's why. He's giving me the classic white bread, bologna, American cheese, mayo sandwich. Like the classic bologna sandwich.
he loved bologna, he loved bread, but he would never touch mustard, ketchup, mayonnaise, anything like that. He'd eat it dry.
You get where I'm coming from, though,
Yes,
okay? So here's
yes.
what I would have you do, okay? Um, he says this is going to be awkward for you. Uh, when it's warm weather and you're out in May or what have you, uh, leave him out a bologna sandwich, how he liked it. Leave it out on a rock, leave it out on the grass, leave it out as like an offering. The animals, the raccoons will come by and eat it. But it's something that he would love. Now he's giving me popcorn, like movie time popcorn, like popcorn. Okay. Um, wow. I think this has to do with his passing, but most especially with the last portion of his life. He cannot wait to have you in heaven so he can tell you how right you were.
That would make a very much sense. Very,
Yeah. Yeah. So like this is like he can't wait for you to have the opportunity to be like, I told you so, told you so, I told you so. Okay. Hold on. Thelma, you're gonna stay on stay on this line with me, okay? Hold on, you're gonna stay on the line with me. There's been some chats floating by from a woman named Debbie.
yep.
Okay. So
Go ahead.
Debbie, hi. Debbie, are you unmuted? Can you talk?
I think so. I don't know if
Okay,
you
here
could.
we go. Okay. We're gonna share this all together. All right. Um, So, Debbie, unfortunately, you said, and my heart goes out to you, you had typed in that your son passed away on Christmas. Were you floating all around my screen? There you
I'm
are.
trying. I don't know. Am I unmuted?
You are. You're perfect. You're right
Okay.
there. Okay. You're unmuted. We're
Sorry.
talking. You're the Debbie who lost her son on Christmas. Yes.
Yes. Well, not this past Christmas. It was 4 years ago this Christmas. He was murdered. And a lot of the
Okay.
things that you're saying are just like, it's like a match with the other, the person that you were just talking to. Um,
Selma.
so
Okay.
I wasn't his birth mom. I was his adoptive mom. And
And I know you want to share, but don't give me too much, okay? Don't give
okay.
me too much here. Thank you. We're gonna experience something here together. Okay. So I think I got both of them here. Okay. And yes, thank you. We got spirits piggybacking, and this is what will happen. They'll cross this. So Thelma's son was into sports. Okay. I can see that. Okay. What's interesting to me is that if I do have these two together in the same space, they're indicating to me, uh, Debbie, your son wasn't into sports.
My son loves sports, but he had some physical challenges that made it hard for him to, be
Which gives me the whole like, I'm having difficulty walking and all of that. Okay. All right. Why are they telling me that they're opposite? This is what they're telling me. Like they wouldn't have been like they wouldn't have been friends if they were in the same school. They're opposite. This feels like two different groups of people, like nerds and jocks. This feels very they're giving me that they're different. Okay. Um, okay, they're different. Why, Debbie? I cannot get it out of my head. It's blaring at me. Pac-Man, like the arcade game Pac-Man. Like walk, like you know what Pac-Man is.
Yeah. One of the items that was stolen from or taken from my son's place, like he loved PlayStation and video games.
So the
So
video games is a big thing.
it was
Okay.
it was
Okay.
something
Okay.
that
Okay.
he enjoyed.
All right.
And Matthew was the name of my son. And you had said earlier that and I didn't choose his name. His name was Matthew Jacob. And there is a woman who named her son Jacob after my son. And so I don't know if my son watches over him, but
So interestingly enough, Debbie, I have to tell you kind of where your son is. He's indicating to me, all right, I know you said he liked sports. He had friends that were girls.
yeah.
He had he had friends that were girls, but not girlfriends.
His disability was a bowel disorder. So he didn't make friends easily. People were really awful and rough on him. And um, so he wouldn't have had like girlfriends necessarily or like guy friends because, if you accidentally crap yourself, the world isn't very tolerant of that.
I want to tell you who he's with, okay? And he's indicating to me who he's with. Um, there is a woman in this world who feels like a friend slash sister to him who has experienced sexual assault. This is what he's telling me. Do you know who that is?
Um,
Somebody who's
I'm sure.
really like dealing with that, like dealing with it, like something that's happened to her and it's becoming the dominating story that she's carrying. Like, and what
I
he's showing me is this is somebody who self-harms, like
Yeah,
self-harms, hurts
I
herself.
I can think of more than one young person who that category would fit because I did foster care for a lot of years that he would
And
know.
yeah, and so like you might know this, and again, they speak in symbols. A little bit of streak of purple in the hair shows me like wild child. Like this is somebody who might be a little bit of like a wild child. Somebody might have tattoos, a little hair dye, that sort of somebody along that way. And he's now laughing about Seinfeld. I don't know why Seinfeld is all of a sudden he's laughing about it. I don't know if he likes Seinfeld. I don't know if the woman's name is Elaine like Seinfeld. I don't know what this is, but
It's crazy. Like I can't watch Seinfeld anymore because it looks like his biological father. And I didn't, it's not a person that like I adopted my son. So it's not a person I was in relationship with, but um It's one of the suspects in his death.
In your home, a framed photo, but the frame looks like it's very bright and colorful, very bright and colorful, like a frame. And what he's saying to me is, you're always adjusting it, you're always touching it, you're always moving it. It's always something where you're touching it. He's watching you do this. Um, oh, why would he say this? He wants you to wear your pearls again. I don't see a necklace on you, but he's talking about wearing pearls.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. But
I want to give you the so hear me when they say this. I think it's an energetic thing. If you're a person who works with or understands the energetic centers called chakras, there's
Mhm.
something about wearing pearls around your throat chakra that are going to clear that out for you. There's something going on with your throat chakra. You want to look into the energetic qualities of pearls. Um,
Okay.
Also, Debbie, Thelma, please be gentle on yourself. Please be skillful with the story you're carrying. Please. Here's why. I'm going to back up a little bit, and I want to talk about the idea of like women hating their body. Remember I was talking about that? Like we get programmed through commercials, magazine covers. Women of a certain generation are going to remember the Farrah Fawcett poster. Okay. I cannot tell you the amount of spirit that looks over us all. And most of us, hardworking, devoted, loving, caring, giving, compassionate, graceful people, and they don't see a lick of it. So when spirit watches us and they observe us, they're looking at the objective truth: hardworking, hard loving, caring. And then they can watch how those people who are loving and caring can get the story wrong and perpetuate a sense of suffering in themselves. And here's where a lot of people have an issue with my message, and here's where I don't give a shit. If we want our loved ones in spirit to rest in peace, we must live in peace. This is why peace is my religion, because I want my grandmother in spirit to be at peace. Now, there was nothing to be done about Matthew's passing. You couldn't have stopped it, you couldn't have prevented it. And I'm not sure, Debbie, that you're necessarily telling yourself the story you'd want a grieving mother telling herself. And the fact that I have Thelma and Debbie here, Thelma, I get, is, frustrated with the storm that was over her son's head. I'm not sure she's necessarily beating herself up too much, not as much as I've seen other people do. But I need the both of you, Debbie and Thelma, please take care of your son's mothers. Radical self-love, acceptance, and grace, knowing that you could only do a certain amount to take care of these boys, and the rest was in God's hands, whose ever hands, and maybe one day you'll understand the mystery, maybe one day you won't, but you guys experienced love together, and that love never dies. Your sons love you. You love those sons. Those sons will be available to you when you pass. I do have a word of warning for the both of you. The both of you feel to me like you're going to be some old broads. Old broads. Old, 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 old. And here's what I mean by that. 97, 102, old. However, that's going to be here and gone before you know it. Our lives are so fast. I want you to remember, and this is going to be very difficult for women who have experienced the worst things in their world. We're on vacation here. This earth of ours is supposed to be a temporary place where we enjoy ourselves. Your loved ones are at home. The difference being is that your loved ones at home are watching you and they hear what you're saying to yourself. They hear what you're going through, and they don't want you to beat up on yourself unnecessarily. Here's the funny thing. While these two, like, I know that they might have loved sports or what have you, they're two very distinct personalities. There's some reason they just would not have gotten along. Um, might have to do with uh drugs and alcohol. Like one of them might have like to get messed up a little bit, the other one might not have. They're like that sort of personality difference. But they both want me to tell you that they're watching Saturday morning cartoons. So they have access to cartoons, and that should be an important thing for you guys to know, that heaven, to whatever degree you want to call it, and in whatever way we are going to experience it, there is a lot of joy there. There's a lot of peace there, and there's a lot of ability for us to interact with our loved ones in the physical realm. But we are part of what they watch. We are part of the show that they watch, and they do interact with us and they want the best for us. This is why we have to be careful of the story that we tell ourselves. Here's my example. I've lost my grandmother many years ago to spirit. I was probably the only grandchild that had a deep relationship with my gram. So I was very close with my gram. And when she passed, I briefly entertained the idea that I could have done more as a grandson. Could have been there more, could have done it more, but being who I am and what I do, I very much have this connection of, you were leading your life, you were raising a baby, you could only give so much of yourself to me, your grandmother. Don't beat yourself up. I would not want my child in that position. When my son loses my mother, he's going to be devastated. I do not want him to beat himself up. I don't beat up my grandmother's grandson. Now, whether you've lost your dad or your husband or your son or your best friend or your pet, a lot of our suffering comes from the way we hold our stories. And the way we hold our stories can give us peace or suffering. I want the best life for myself. That's not selfish. I just want the best life. I want to be the strongest, wisest, and most at peace I can be. I tap into the part of me that's God every single day. Spirit, source, whatever you want to call it. In the same way that I walked through my messy house and I was like, oh, damn it, there's so much mess in this house. But wait, can I navigate to love? I found God in that moment. I found divinity or love or what have you in that moment. For Thelma, I'm not sure if he has race cars, matchboxes, or what have you, but if you have like race cars or matchboxes, please keep them up. Okay. And it's funny because like I don't know if it was the Roadrunner or Woody Woodpecker, but I keep hearing the like, you know what Woody Woodpecker sounds like. If there are any videos of your son doing those sorts of things, those are the things that bring us joy. Revisit them when you can. Um, for you, Debbie, you've got to know that your son is very much aligned with your values, meaning that the way you foster and care for people in this world, whether it's through official foster parenting or just being a nurturer and a caregiver, you've got to know that it's funny that he shows me a Venn diagram. While the two of you might have been different, you're also very similar in the way that you would look out for and nurture and care for people in the earthly realm. He is also doing this in the spiritual realm. He's not bored. He's got plenty of people to look over, and you guys are on the same team. You're just in different places. Okay?
That's actually why they targeted him, is because he was living in an elderly and disabled building, and he didn't like the drug dealers moving in. So um, that's how he became a target, is watching out, standing up for the elderly. They believed he was working with the police, and they killed him. But they're still walking around. So I still have a hard time with like peace, because it's been 4 years and I would like justice in my lifetime. Like, I would like to see it. I know about karma. I just
Completely
like,
understand.
I
I completely understand.
they made a point of it being on Christmas Day. They did a lot of things, and I'm not too good of a person to really just want them to be held accountable. And like, I want to see them in handcuffs, and I want to see them in jail.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anybody that would have walked through that story would completely understand that desire.
And
This
then
is why I started this session with you today. What is that? Show it to me.
so it's like teddy bears with like three bears. It's been sitting next to me like when you started it, but it doesn't have a baseball cap on. I don't know if you can see it.
I love it.
It's so
And you and
funny.
Thelma are here. Yeah, you and Thelma are here
Thelma,
with all of these
thank
things in
you.
common.
I'm sorry for your loss, Thelma.
Here's this goes back to the things that I was prompted to say at the very beginning. Debbie, you couldn't control that. You couldn't stop it. You certainly wouldn't have caused it, but you couldn't stop it. You can't control what happened to you. However, in this moment, as you're reacting, try to turn those reactions into love if you can. Even using that anger as a way to motivate you in your other values and goals. Okay? That's important, because you could allow that anger and that fury and that rage to consume you and to reduce your capacity to live to your heart's calling. Or imagine this. Imagine if Thelma had that same story and she was here in your position. I want you to just sit with what you would tell Thelma if she was in your position. Yeah, it sucks. Absolutely. And sometimes we just got to stare that in the face, but we don't allow it to consume us.
I think the challenge for me, like, the people are like, they basically started a harassment campaign, shared my phone number, like, so I constantly am hearing the messaging of the messaging about being a bad mother, or that he should have stayed with his birth mother, just all of it. So I'm constantly being told that I wasn't enough by people whose opinion shouldn't matter, but it is a message that is for the last 4 years has been constant bullying and harassment. And I honestly don't know how the younger people do it, because when you are on bullies lists, like, I feel really bad for the younger kids. Like, I'm 64, so I can navigate it, but it does take a toll. So I just like all these people have grandchildren and young adults who are maybe isolated, what they must go through is just like, oh, I'm much more cautious and aware of how detrimental that can be to someone's mental health over the course of 4 years. Or any amount, like these kids who are on social media. It makes me sad for them.
It's a horrendous time to be alive. It really
Yeah.
is.
A hard time. Like you said, there's
This is
joy.
There is plenty of beauty and joy in this world, and I think it's an opportunity to go, okay, I'm in the world. I don't necessarily need to be of it. Like
Right.
I knew
That was a
Debbie,
good
I knew
message.
I knew I was gay when I was 3. I've always been a fluffy little muffin. I get all these messages, being gay is bad, being fat is bad. It's like, you know, just it's like I can continue to embody those. I can be of the world, of the world's the fat phobia, the homophobia. I could be of the world and I could internalize that, or I can find the part of myself that is God, source, universe, love, and I can beat those monsters.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like overall I do a pretty good job with where I'm at. And the other interesting thing to go back to was October. You were talking about Halloween, and I went on my first solo trip to Italy to a witches retreat with a whole bunch of psychics and intuitive women. Um, and it was just phenomenal. And so it was funny. And I definitely have a crazy neighbor that would interact with and still is. And she's very challenging. So it's kind of like all the stuff that you were saying just was definitely piggybacking off my soul sister there who lost her son too.
When we
So I'm in
become a member of
gratitude.
when we become a member of the bereaved, it changes us. When we lose somebody we love and we become the bereaved, it absolutely changes us.
Yeah, your life is never
Debbie,
the same.
I want to make an offer to you, okay?
Okay.
So actually, this is funny. Thelma, all right, you guys listen. If you want to participate in this, I am going to give you guys a couple of seats. So and this is for everybody to know, on Tuesday, January 6th, I am starting a 6-week course called Wellspring. It's a 6-week course of hope and healing. Going to do all sorts of fun things, stories, meditations, Zoom meetings, all sorts of things. It's all on my website. Um, Anybody can sign up for it. What I would like to do is if Thelma and Debbie are into participating, just email me. Seriously, if you guys have a little bit of time, you want to go through this journey, email me. Okay. Like my email is connect at my name, Josh Simonds, connect at joshsimonds.com. I'd love to have you as part of it. I'd love to walk you through it. I'm putting out a new Oracle deck. It's the only way you can get this Oracle deck, okay, as part of it. And what's really important for me is the building of crossroads. Like I'm gonna do my damnedest to bring people healing and hope, but I do want to get a community of like-minded people together so they can meet one another in person and become those soul sisters, like you said, to find those connections that will help us heal. So that's a main goal of it. Now, with that being said, you guys have to understand how much you're loved. And no matter what the world will give you in terms of pain or turmoil, ultimately those things are just temporary. Those things are of the world. Your love that you share with those in spirit, the love that God and angels and divine energies have for us, that's eternal. So when we pass from this world and when we graduate into death, that's what we return to, that reuniting that we have with our loved ones in spirit. The sufferings that we have along the way, maybe they'll teach us something, maybe they'll catalyze us to something greater. We're all going to walk through that path differently. But Thelma and Debbie, I'd like you to be part of this if you'd like to. Okay.
Thank you.
And here is I want to announce something to the world for the very first time. Okay. You guys don't tell anybody this. Okay. Don't tell anybody that I'm doing this. This is how much the angels are with me. And you will see notification of this down the road. Remember how I'm talking about, like, we create our lives, right? We write the stories and then we become parts of other people's stories. You guys will not believe what I'm doing. I'm gonna have so much fun with this. On Halloween weekend, I'm hosting um speed dating.
Wow.
Like, I am going to create an event where people of certain ages can get together with certain demographics and do speed dating. And the point of that is it's just creating a big crossroads for people to come together. And guess what? Like, I want to help the housing industry. I want to get all these sad, lonely people together and create more apartments and more houses and open up places. But pretty soon, if you're local to me, you're going to see word of some matchmaking speed dating events that I am going to coordinate. And it's just going to be to bring more love to the world and give people an opportunity to find that love. So that's the power of the angelic. That's the point of it all. So the course that I'm offering comes from that place. But the wacky events and speed dating of all things, creating those events for people, I'm gonna have a hell of a good time. And I just hope that there will be people who find their loved ones. So pretty wild. That's what 2026 has for me. But don't tell anybody, because like I've got to like announce it.
Exciting.
All right.
That sounds
So
fun. You're fun, Josh.
yeah,
You're
yeah, I've
fun.
been doing a hell of a lot of research on it, wanting to just bring love into the world. And like, I am 18 years into a fairy tale with my husband, and like, if I could only help people find that in their own lives, wow. So I'm in the logistics mode of it. How do I make it work for all the age groups and all the demographics? And it's going to be a big experiment as I do it, but you'll see it on Deep Earth Art stuff. You'll see it on my stuff. I do have that course coming up. You guys can sign up for it. Drawing this all to an end. And I want you guys to remember here, no matter what you have to face in your life or in your heart, you are the storyteller. You're the storyteller. You get to decide how you tell yourself your stories. Hold your stories. Am I an abomination because I'm gay, or am I a gift of God because I am born the way I'm born? That's the way I get to make it through my life. So sit with your stories and become the master storyteller in your own life, and watch how your year will blossom. Okay? It's all my love to you guys. Thank you for being here. Thelma, Debbie, you better email me, okay? You better
Okay.
email
I
me. I'd love
definitely
to have
will.
you as part of it. All
Thank you.
right. It's the word connect at my website, joshsimons.com. That's it. All my love to you guys. Take care of yourself. I can't wait to see you for episode 36. All my love.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.